Hi. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined. I appreciate you tuning in today, whether you're watching live on Facebook or live on YouTube, or if you're watching a replay on either one. I really appreciate you watching and sharing with your crafty friends. That's kind of how I share my designs and inspire new people, is when you share with your friends who I don't know. That's a awesome way to pay tribute and say thank you for sharing creativity and inspiration. So that's all I'm asking, is hopefully you'll subscribe to my channel and like it on Facebook and share with your friends. So if you tune in and would like to leave a comment, that would be very helpful. I always like to greet you and say hi if I know who you are. And if I don't know who you are, if you want to go right here's a little banner that tells you it will show up for me as Facebook user unless you give StreamYard permission to view your comments. So that's all you have to do, is go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just say, yep, and I'll be able to see who you are. So we'd love to see your comments and see who you are and where you're from. And I just made my screen small somehow. And lost my comments. Let's see. There we go. Okay, we're back. Yay. Thanks again for tuning in. Today we're going to play, and these aren't finished. These are still kind of in progress, because I wanted to kind of get the basics down so we could go over how to do this with this beautiful set. I did so many merry, bold, and bright with the bright colors that I thought I was really drawn to this when I saw it. We had a Stampin' Up! Event called On Stage that I was able to go to or attend here in my home, and had some of my team members here. And we got to see a lot of the new product that's coming out in the January to April mini catalog, which I couldn't find moments ago. I thought I was going to show you the front, but I can't find it. So you'll have to wait a little longer for that sneak peek. If you don't have a catalog and you're one of my customers, I'm happy to get one to you. Mine should be coming any day, my bulk ones. So just let me know you want one. Okay, here we go. Hello, Kelly, whoever the Facebook user is. I'm happy to have you. Thanks for tuning in and commenting. Okay, here are the beautiful papers, and this is front, back, front, back. So we've got one side is gold foil. Try to get these where they're all kind of in screen. We've got gold foil on one side, and then the pretty pecan pie and pebble path are the colors that are in here. So you've got some beautiful golds, the browns, the grays, kind of nice selection of those. And this is the sheet that I worked with today. And some of you who are doing a paper share are going to be getting some of these. So that's awesome. I will show you, there's a lot of different ways to do this, and we're going to be playing with it a lot of different ways. But today we're going to use this kind of as it is, but kind of jazz it up a little. Instead of just being straight on the card, I'm going to show you kind of what I did to get this, extend the boundaries. Kind of see, can you tell that is going over this circle? So it kind of makes it, even though the whole thing's not cut out, the whole thing's not 3D, you still kind of can get a feel for that. And like I said, these cards are just partially put together. We'll finish putting those together today. But you can tell that I've cut out the leaves, and we'll go over that on each individual card. And kind of showing you some different ribbons that coordinate with this. This is a Pebble Path ribbon that's one of the new in colors, as is Pecan Pie, that came out in the annual catalog. And then here's another one. So we'll be going through step by step how to do this. I'll show you the stamp set in just a sec. The stamp set and the die set. You can tell here. Let me just go ahead and get that die. We'll show you the bundle. And I should have that number handy, and I don't, because I don't have my catalog right here. Okay, this Notes of Nature and the Lovely and Sweet come in the Nature's Sweetness suite. Okay, so SUITE suite. All right, so you have those, and then you have the dies that are coordinating Notes of Nature and Lovely and Sweet dies. And we used, yikes, I forgot to put do not disturb on my phone. So we are going to hope for the best. Did y'all hear that little ding? Sorry if you did. I'll see if I can take it off. But this is the die that I used for all of those greetings. Instead, I just, on this one, you can tell that I cut the die out and then I just cut it in half and glued it on the back of a strip that was the same width so that that could extend beyond those boundaries, and just made it fit with my greeting. So these are the beautiful dies. I just can't wait to play with more of these. I have done several different cards already, so I'm just showing you the one, but here's the lovely and sweet. And these images are at 90%. They're not at 100%. So that's, let me go ahead and switch our camera over so you can see these better. There we go. Okay. So this one makes a really cool perf line that you can run some of the new trim through. The trim is also part of this package. That is a beautiful gold, kind of gold suede. It feels like a leather, an actual leather trim. It's really cool. And then this is kind of what that die cuts out. If you can kind of see that, and it's perfed in the middle, so you can make it whatever size you want because it doesn't cut the edges. And then let me see if I have one handy that's got some trim already in it. I can't show you this whole card because it's a swap and the swap hasn't all traded yet, but I'm going to show you a partial of it. See how pretty that is with the little trim running through the holes? So there's lots of possibilities with this set. It's just great. Okay, now I think we've gone over all that. So the dies will cut all the 3 main images, and then there are the extra leafy dies too, and little tabs, all kinds of goodies we're going to be playing with soon. And I think that's all I had to share on those. I could not post the supply links like I usually do at the bottom of the video because they're not live yet. Y'all will be able to purchase these starting January 4th. But I wanted to show you how fun this set's going to be to play with. Yay! Okay, so I first cut the 12 by 12, which you have 6 of these images, 2 of each design on one sheet of 12 by 12. And you'll just cut them pretty close to, let's see what these are. 4 by almost 4.5, 4 by 4 3/8. But some of them are a little bit different size. I just cut it, basically, I chose each square. You can't really cut the entire paper. Let me see if I can explain what I mean here. Grab my sheet. Well, good heavens. Now I've got to go through the whole pack again. There we go. Okay. So what I did, I cut this in half first. I just went ahead and cut it at 6 because I wasn't sure exactly how much room I was going to need for each one. So that will give you some extra strips. If you want a wider strip out of the middle so that you have more of this back, then you could probably cut it at about 5.5 and 5.5. Let's see here. But you have to make sure you're not chopping off any of this edge. So yeah, you could do 5.5 there, 5.5. Yep. So the images aren't on the page exactly the same, but you could cut 5.5 in this way, 5.5 in that way if you wanted, or you could just do it at 6. And then you're going to individually decide what the depth is, how wide you want each piece. So I would cut these apart at whatever that turns out to be. Should be about 4. You ought to be able to get, let's just look and see if those are even, because you just don't want to cut off any of the image. You want to be sure and have some border around this image if you're going to do the cards like we're doing today. Okay, so you could cut it at, like I said, 5.5, or you could cut it at 6. And then you're going to trim each of these pieces down. But cut that in half, cut that. That would probably be the easiest. Cut that at 6 and then cut at 4 in between these. Then to be able to do these cards, you're just going to individually put these in your Stampin' trimmer. These are still about the same, I think. 4 by 4 3/8 is what those ended up being. But I made it where it's large enough to have room around these little extensions here, if that makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Jen. It is beautiful DSP. It's going to be fun to play with. Something totally different from our others, right? Okay, so I took these and then I figured out, I took the Deckled Circles dies, which are awesome and you should have them in your collection. These, you can use them for so many things. This is number 162286. You get 14 of these dies. And these are carrying over, so they will be in the next catalog too. So you don't have to worry about that. You'll be able to get these. Nope. One more up. I'm going to try to tell you the right size here. There we go. Okay. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the seven largest. seven from the largest. Okay. So what we did on these, I took the 2 main colors, because I will show you some on a different video where I did some watercoloring or use watercolor pencils on this. You could use blends, you could use all kinds of things. But today we're going to concentrate just on this color scheme. And you take the Pebbled Path, which is, I'm going to show you how this kind of deconstructs here. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. And it holds that. This ring just barely fits in that. So you really have to be careful and make sure you're right even on the sides there, or you'll cut a side off. And then I left more room at the bottom. You can kind of look at each design. This one I moved up a little, but I think I just decided you could probably do them all the same. But I would really look at each individual of the 3 different designs before you cut your circle and decide how much room you want at the top. Because you may want yours going sideways or something. But to me, it looked like that one should go up and down like I did here. And you can see I wanted this to have room to do the ribbon and the greeting. So you have less room at the top than you do right here. So it's a little different size, but it would probably still work. This is just would be moved down quite a bit more. Okay. So that's 4 by 5 1/4. And this one is, the circle is about 5/8 of an inch, I guess. Let me see. This is easier. Yeah. About 5/8 of an inch down from the top. This one on this particular one is only about less than 3/8 of an inch down. So just when you're centering that on your die cutting machine. All right. And this one, if you look up on the stamp set, it actually shows you the Lovely and Sweet stamp set. Easy for me to say, right? Okay. The figure tells you this is like Prunus dulcis or something. And I have not looked up pronunciation, so I'm butchering it, I'm sure. But when I looked at that, I just saw a bunch of flowers initially. And then I thought, well, why would this just be flowers? And this one is Vanilla planifolia, I think, something like that. And this is Theobroma cacao. So this one is actually cocoa beans or cacao beans that make cocoa or chocolate flavor. And then this one makes vanilla. Those are the vanilla beans. And this, have you found what's hidden in the flowers? Those are almonds. Yep. Because I looked it up to see what colors this was, this Prunus dulcis. And that's an almond tree. How about that? You learned something new today. Sorry, I hit the thing. I got so excited. Okay, so we have vanilla cocoa and vanilla, cocoa, and almond, basically. How fun is that? Yay. So that's what we're going to be working with today, are those images. And to me, I liked, you could use a lot of different folders, embossing folders, but the embossing folders really, I think, are pretty essential on these cards. I think they would be just too plain if you didn't have some kind of texture on them. So I chose with the vanilla. To me, this flower and that whole vanilla bean, that looked kind of plantation-y, or like if you were having a vacation in the South and you had a big porch and you were sitting on the rocking chairs or whatever, you'd have a cane chair. So that's why I chose this cane weave folder that's in the annual catalog. And that is, let's see, Cane Weave 3D 160580. And of course, you could use that on any of them or different folders, whatever you have that you feel like would work. That's why I chose that one. And then this one is the Twisted Rope 3D embossing folder. And this is from the annual catalog 23-24. And what I do is, so that I remember this, if I need to look it up again, I cut this off of the little sheet that comes with the embossing folder. I just cut that out and tape it on there, so I know the number and the name. That might be a helpful hint for you. Okay, so the Twisted Rope I thought went really well. The texture of this rope and the texture on the cacao beans. Can you see how close that is? Isn't that cool? So I love that with the little beans. And then I just thought these flowers were just gorgeous with the little almond nuts. And I thought about using a different folder, but I really kind of like this one. This is from the Basics 3D. This is the little dots folder out of the Basics 3D 161598. But I love the way those worked. But I also think the Basics with the little crosshatch would also be pretty. That is 161598 also, because it's a set of 3. And I think you could use on these, if you don't have those folders and wanted to try something, you could use the exposed brick, I think would be pretty, or maybe even the distressed tile or the time-worn type. Those were the ones I suggested. And then also there's going to be a brand new one, sneak peek alert, in the celebration catalog. And no, well, this is the mini. This says mini. I could be wrong on this. I'm not sure if that's in the mini or the celebration. Softly Sophisticated, but I think that would be pretty with these two. So lots of options there on what I feel like would work well with this. Now we're going to go back to the card and just pick one of these and show you, and go ahead and complete that. Actually, let me get a little sheet of paper. We don't have a grid paper handy. We're just going to use this. Okay. I'll put my little die up before that disappears. That would not be good. Okay. What do y'all think of this color combo? Do you like this? I never would have put Pecan Pie and Pebble Path together, but I think it's really pretty. Okay. So this one, like I said, is not glued, not anything. What I did was take just the sheet like I showed you right here. I took this and I decided, okay, I see how big my circle is. So you cut this first and then you put it on here and you go, which way do I like this? What is the direction that I want these flowers to be? Okay. And then you think, okay, if I'm going to do it like that with that size circle, which leaves are going to go on top and which leaves do I want to hide or whatever. You just decide that. And then, so I took this out, and I would recommend not cutting all the way so that you have this white background too behind it. I was going to cut that all the way off, and then I decided not to. So I think that was a good idea because I did it in other places. So you don't want to snip all the way across in just like everywhere, just go in everywhere, because some of those could show, which we may hide with an embellishment if it ends up showing. But all you do is go in and kind of fussy cut around some of the leaves. That one is all the way out, that one, And these, see, I just barely cut the tip because when I held this back up, you kind of have to go back and forth. So if you're wanting an easy, simple card, then I would just do this right here. And then you have a simple card that's really pretty. But if you wanted a little more detailed, like I did, then I would go through and do figure out where you want it, cut some of those leaves. Like this one, I decided it could be behind here, but I wanted one leaf out. And that, see, I probably didn't need to cut that one, but I did. So I just decided to go ahead and cut the stem out too. Then you have to worry about side to side. That's why it matters how big these are when you cut the original out. Okay. Yeah, Jan, it really is a rich color combo. I agree. I agree. It really kind of holds its own without having to color these in, I think. All right, so we're going to put this back and figure out how we want it. So I liked, see how it just breaks the boundaries of that circle? And I kind of want it pretty close to even. It doesn't have to be exactly even where how much white is showing. See, between the Pebble Path edge and that pecan pie printed edge. So that's kind of what I'm judging by on how I want these. Now, if I want to go a little bit more, I can get the stem closer to where my knot is, which is kind of what I want. Okay, so that kind of looks close. So see, I wish I hadn't tucked that out, because if you cut that off, then you're going to have your pecan pie showing through here, and it's going to look funky because it's up there with that circle. So that's why you have to be careful about not cutting stuff out. All right, so we've got our pecan pie card base, which is your typical 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of tack this where I want it. I'm going to put a little bit of glue. There we go. And it doesn't matter about these edges sticking out because we're going to adjust for that. Okay. So I'm going to do this right here. Kind of get it where I want it and use liquid glue so I can wiggle it a little bit if I need to. And I'm definitely going to need some in that one place, and I'll come back and figure that out. I think it's right here. Whoops, that should be on the outside. Okay, get some of this glue down where it doesn't wiggle everywhere. Just make sure you're only, we better get our glue silicone mat out. So hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Just kind of gluing this, sticking it to the Pebble Path. And I'm going on the Pebble Path and not on the other, not on this DSP, because I know where I'm, that way you know where it's not gonna come off the edge. Okay, so you don't want to just be gluing the DSP and then it glues it, just puts it on your mat instead of gluing it to the Pebble Path. Okay. There we go. So whatever you can see to glue. And I'm going to tuck that underneath here. Okay, let's see how we're doing so far. I think we're good. All those that are cut are sticking out. All those that are cut are sticking out. Here's that part. We need to make sure. See, that was the flap that has the gap there. So I'm going to put this all the way up at the top. I can see that I can do that without it showing. So I kind of glue that back into place almost. In fact, if you have some tear and tape, you might want to put that across that. And whenever we put dimensionals up, I think we're going to pop this up with dimensionals. So I'm going to make sure that stays in place. That is that white piece right there. I wanted that hidden where I had cut that out. Okay. So I think, oops, nope, haven't done this side. Okay, don't need that. I think we're pretty good there. Okay, so if you're going to put your dimensionals on while we're at it here, we might want to go across there too. You want to hold it up on all the sides. And here's one that's cut apart, so we want to put one there. And I like where that is. Make sure that stays. And then we may put a couple in the middle too. What the heck? Okay, now we've got that. I don't have the backs off of them yet. I'm going to wait till I get this front fixed. And in fact, I'm going to cut this from the back side. You usually get kind of a cleaner cut from the back, but we're going to trim it a little bit more from the front. So whatever works. We can do this one from the front. We'll try that. Okay. Oops, we got one peeking out at the top. So the point is you just get your little almond tree wherever you want it to be, and then you can make the rest work around it. And now I got it off center a little bit, but that's okay. That's where it's going to be, right? Okay. Whoops, this should be behind. See what I mean? That we've got that one piece of white in between the two leaves. So that will need to tuck behind the pebble path little hole there. So I'll bring that back and we'll tuck that under that dimensional and hold that too. Okay. And I think that's all there is to that. Then we'll pop that up and put it on the base. We probably want, this is probably way overkill. Whoops, I don't think I am going to put those down there. You know why? Because we're going to put the greeting on the front. It's going to be right here. So I probably don't need that one. So I could put one here. But I don't want to put that one there. I'll put it over here. Let's see where this is going to fall. Right there. So we don't want that dimensional double stacked. So we'll just put that even further up. That ought to be good. Okay. Move that where you can see it a little better. Okay. We'll just get all these backs off. And you could go ahead and put it in these corners, the dimensionals, or not. This is pretty much going to hold it, I think. But if you want to be safe, we can put one here. And one up here. We don't want one on that side. Okay. And I don't put a little line on the back of my dimensionals. It'd probably be easier. A lot of people do, so they can tell if the backs are pulled off or not. Usually one is kind of shinier than the other, so you can kind of tell. Okay, so this again is 4 by 5 1/4. So you're going to have an even border all the way around, about 1/8 of an inch all the way, top and bottom. Then we've cut this out with a little die. And this I thought might not be quite dark enough, so I was going to show you how to re-ink an ink pad really quickly. See if you need that tip. Some of you do, some of you probably do it already, and I shake it a little bit. I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but here we go. Check your pecan pie. Pecan pie. Whew, that's a big thing to double check. So we're going to give it a little more ink, and if it soaks up that quickly, like that did in the center, then it means it needed it. All right, when it starts pooling up, you know that's probably plenty. But that is soaking it up for sure. So we are going to have a darker image now. Wow. That's a new color. I'm surprised. Boy, I've been getting after it, right? Then I take just like a gift card or a credit card or something that's no good anymore. And I go from all the different directions, and you're just pushing down with that card. You're pushing it into that pad. So you've got an even coating on the top. Not everybody does it this way, but that's the way I do it. So I can only give you the tips that I use, right? Okay, hopefully that's helpful. And I think while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and do the pebbled path also, because I've done a lot of this since I started working with this suite. And pebbled path, double check, double check. See, that's not soaking in quite as quickly, so I'm not going to put as much of this one. I'll go ahead one more time. And that should do it on that one. And make sure and wipe your card off really good each time with a wet wipe or on your Stampin' Scrub or something. And just be patient as you do this. And I just turn it's easier for me to turn the pad than turn the card. So that's the way I do it. Now, good to go. So now we should have good crisp images. I have to have a sip of water, excuse me. All right, we're going to take, I showed you the die already, I think. And really, these sets go so well together that if you're going to get one, I'd get them both. It just really, I thought about just getting the one, but this die is so cool. That little thing on the end, I love that. So I've got several of those cut out. If I can find where they are, we'll be in good shape. Maybe. Close up the pebbled path while I look around here. Let's see where those are. Don't know. Well, we're just going to use the one. We'll just go ahead and use this one. Because now that I've moved all that paper around, and there it is. Okay, found it. Okay, we're going to take one of these, and I'll show you what difference it makes to ink your stamp up. See if I can get that where y'all can see. Okay, which one are we working on? We're working on this one. Okay. Just going to tap, 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 and really look to make sure. See, I've got a little bit around the edge, but I don't think that's enough to make a mess. We're going to stamp it on our scratch paper here. Looks good. Tap, tap, tap. Always flip it over and look. You might want to get that extra off. Okay. And we're going to, you can center that on your grid paper. And if you're doing this at home, you'd probably want to stamp this first and then die cut, but this works just fine. Now look at the difference that makes. And this will dry a little lighter, so it'll be closer to this color. But you can tell how much richer that is just after re-inking. So I do recommend always, Stampin' Up! Does too, because it will be out of the same batch if you order the ink refill and your ink pad at the same time, instead of waiting till it runs low and then you're like working on a project and you don't have that ink. So I recommend just getting them at the same time, and that way you know that the color is going to be exactly the same, because sometimes there might be a teeny variation or something in that. If you wait a year or so to get a refill, it might just be a teeny bit different. Okay, so we have that ready, and we're going to use the Stampin' Dimensionals on here. And we're just going to straddle that ribbon. I'm putting one at the top, one at the bottom, and kind of straddling, I think. That's my plan anyway. We'll see how we like it. I should have auditioned it first, right? To see exactly where I was going to put it. This is going to cover up part of my leaf, but I think we'll have it where it comes out that side. And I'm going to line that up at the bottom. I could have moved that over, but I should have tried it a little bit ahead of time. And you could even, if you wanted to, you could cut that leaf. If you wanted more of that to show, you could cut it and extend it on out. But I kind of like the way it goes around that curve. I just like the whole shape of that. And then we do have some new cork adhesive. Let me see what they call it. Something to do with cork that we're going to use on several of the other cards. Let's see what they have. Cork, adhesive backed cork rounds. And we could use a couple of those. Do y'all think we need any embellishments on here? What do you think? We'll see if we like these. We may not with all these dots, or it may bring the dots in. Who knows? We'll just see. If we don't want them, we can certainly change it. And if you decided you wanted something different and you wanted to do this, jazz this up a bit and add some gold, you could certainly emboss that in gold and add some little gold sprigs. Whatever makes you happy. It's your card. You create it your way. We'll put one of those like on top of one of those dots. We got a lot of dimensional going on, so let's see if we want one more. Not there, not there. Maybe there. Oops, sorry about that. Hope y'all didn't hear that. And hope I don't get a call during all this. Okay, so what do y'all think? Look at those cork dots. I mean, they're just like cut out of cork. How fun. Something really different. So there's that card, and the others are the same principle. This one is done with, like I said, that twisted rope folder, and I should have trimmed that a little better. Didn't quite get that good enough. A little late now, I think, but we can see. Oh well, I'll trim that up later. Okay, now let's see if we want some strips on this one, or some cork dots. Let's see, put one there. Put a large one down here. You always want to be close to the focal point. That's what you want to draw your eye to, is to the greeting. So I usually put one right by that, if not on it. I don't really think it needs to be on it. We want one at the top. What do we think here? Do we need 3? Anybody have? Nobody's commenting, so I'm on my own. Do I want one down there? Nope, looks lost. And I mean, you can tell that I'm just barely laying these on there so they're easy to move. I'm not really sticking them down. I don't want those two just across from each other. So move that down. Well, we can play with that. But that's the principle of the thing. Okay, now we've got one more. Last one already, since I pre-did some of this because I wanted to show you several. So here we have, I cut too much off of this one. I should have measured right here to see what I wanted to come over and how I wanted it. And I didn't really measure it properly. So I shouldn't have even made this cut mark, but I did. So I'm going to see if I can maybe just tape that up on the back or put a dimensional back there without taking the back off, of course, and making a mess. So I'm going to see if I can kind of seal that back up. Where was it? Right here. I think it was right there. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to cut those. See, as I did, I only cut in once from the edge and cut around this one. Then I went, no, I did cut from that edge too. I did. You could probably get by with that, but then you would cut here, and you don't necessarily want to cut in that circle. So just kind of play with it now that you've got your little cocoa beans sticking out, or vanilla beans, And I kind of think the flower to me looks a little heavy if it's at the top, a little heavy. Kind of looks like it wants to be like that or like that. Not, that just doesn't look right to me, but it's totally personal preference on how you want to arrange it. Does that make sense? Okay, so I want this little guy sticking off the edge, but not too far. And I want these two sticking up because that's the whole point of giving this some depth. Okay, so we can go ahead and glue that, I bet, down, and then we'll cut off the edges. And we could try popping this part up. Do we want to do that on this one? I think that's going to be a little tricky. A little tricky. I think that's too tricky because you have such thin little areas that between where your paper is and where that circle is. I think it's probably easier just to do it like this instead of trying to pop that whole thing up. Okay, let's make sure we've got that glued. Is that kind of where we want it? Yeah. Okay, then you've got this little piece right here. So you probably want to glue that right there. And let's get this on our, oh yeah, that's right. Whew. Thought I was doing it upside down on the cane, but it's good. I should be doing it upside down because I'm working on the back. Okay. Oh, Jan, I just saw you upper right. Sorry. I've already moved on to the next card before that popped up. Sorry about that. Thanks for your help, though. Okay. So one of the perks of being a demonstrator, one of the great perks, is that we get to order everything early so that we get it in time to be able to show you, so that by the time the catalog comes out, you kind of know what your favorites might be, something that you might be interested in ordering in January. So that's exciting that we get to order it a month early. And if y'all are interested in joining my team, I'd love to have you. You don't have to demonstrate. You don't have to have parties. You don't have to be a hostess. You can just be a discount shopper and enjoy a 20% discount on all your orders. And once you see the new mini catalog, you're probably going to want to do that. There's a lot of beautiful things in there. And I will keep trying to show you how you can use what you have and then incorporate a few of the new things to kind of freshen it up. And you don't have to buy the whole catalog. You don't have to go crazy. You can certainly get a new look without breaking the bank. But if you're interested in joining my team, definitely this is a great time to do it, because we have a special where we're going to have a glass. Stampin' Up! Will be offering a glass mat studio that will come with your demonstratorship, and you could actually go ahead and put some of these new items. Like if you fall in love with this suite and you think, oh my gosh, I have got so-and-so's birthday, or maybe you want some masculine cards, or maybe you've got some event in January these would be perfect for. Just go ahead and sign up and you could pre-order it and put it in your starter kit. How about that? Or you can wait for January for the special with the glass mat. Whatever you want to do. So see how pretty that is? And it just makes such a difference that that is breaking the boundaries of that deckled circle coming out of there. It gives it a lot more depth. Okay, with very little effort, really. All right, we're on this one. I think we can try a little bit of this. I was thinking we could try this on the side here, but I just don't think there's really enough room to even mess with it. And it kind of, I thought about doing this like that on the end. But this is a nice long greeting, so you don't really have room to do a couple of those on each end, and then it would look funny if you had it over here. So I just decided it didn't need ribbon or trim on this one. I'm just going to do this like that. We're going to pop this up as we did the others, and we don't have all those. Let's see, at the bottom, this is going to be here. So can y'all tell what I'm talking about? I don't want to put my dimensionals on the back of this and then put another one right on top of it underneath this. So you could do this flat if you wanted instead of popping it up. We could try that on this one, or we could pop it up, whatever y'all think. I think. And now I glued that down. That's why I had that. I was going to overlap this. Oh, well. Not today. Okay. So we'll just dimensional this whole thing. Probably here. That's probably plenty. Hope y'all are having a great weekend so far. Y'all having Christmas parties and all kinds of stuff to attend, or are you kind of chilling in this busy season? Thank you. I appreciate that, Facebook user. I'm glad you like this set. It is a very classy look. And I think it can go really masculine too, but it doesn't have to be. I think that's a good description, is just a classy, just because of the color combo and the content, really. I'm going to switch that and put that on the back. This seems to be not exactly even. So if your cardstock is not exactly even, it's better to put the short. If you've got one side a little bit shorter, it's better to put it on the back. Just another little tip. I like to share tips with you. Tips and techniques and fun card inspiration. Okay, we're going to pop that up or not? We're going to leave it down. I think we can just leave that down. So we have one birthday, one that could be used for any occasion, just sending a bit of love your way. That could be anybody, anywhere, right? Okay, and I'm going to repeat this, what I did. I cut the label out of the pecan pie. I used this die and cut out the label and then just cut it in half. And I made sure that the width of this piece that fits behind the greeting is just a little bit, see, it's just a teeny bit wider than this is, so that this overlaps that. And then I put that to the end where it, see the piece of pecan pie that's the square or rectangular piece is this width. And that way this part sticks out. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm going to overlap the circle with this one. I'm going to move that up just a little because I just like the way that looks. And I did the liquid glue so I can move it, wiggle just a little bit. Now I'm lining it up so it's straight with the cane and trying to line up this border evenly. Okay. Now, what do we want to do with our little cork guys here? Do we want to put like one up here? Do we not want any? Oops, it's wanting to really stick here. Then we might end up with 4 if we do one in each corner. Or do we want a couple of little ones here? I don't think we need one in each corner. I think that's going to be too close to that. But we can... Nope, not a fan. Sorry, I hit my camera earlier and it is crooked. Sorry. See if I can straighten that up for y'all. There we go. Hi, Leah. This is, I will show you the little comment, what you have to do. Hold on just a second here. There we go. If you're on Facebook, Leah, I can't remember if it's Lee or Leah Davis. Sorry, I have you in my contacts and all that, and I can picture you, but I can't remember Lee or Leah. Your comments will show as Facebook user unless you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give them permission to view your comments. So that's all you need to do, and that way your name will show up. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you commented and let me know who you are. Glad you're here. Okay. Do we like that? Do we not like that? I'm thinking we don't like that. I think we like the random better. We may want all big random. Or do we want a small and a big up here, down here, over here by the greeting? Not sure that we need these on this card. I don't think that's quite shows up enough. Let's see if we want another big one. Do we want one in the brown? And again, I'm not really sticking it. I'm just barely placing it on there. I have trouble figuring out embellishments sometimes. Do y'all? Sometimes it feels like it needs one, and then sometimes just not speaking to me. Unless we just stick them all in here. It just seems like I've got a little too much space up there. How much time do I have? Let's see what time it is. We'll quit messing with this. Good gosh, it's already been almost an hour, but we have done 3 cards, so. That just seems awkward to me. We're not doing it. We're taking them off. We might come up with something else later, but right now, I'm thinking that doesn't need it. I was going to show you Wink of Stella. Let's see if one of these is good. Yes. Okay. This one seems to have a whole lot in it, so it's not. We're just going to see how this does. If we wink the flower. See if we like that. This kind of takes a little bit away from the natural look, although, you know, this could be dew on it in the morning, right? A little sparkle never hurt anything. Okay. Can you see that? A little bit of sparkle with the wink of Stella. So that's an idea too. Okay. Well, I think, and then I would just do the inside, just do a little bit of each one. If you wanted another greeting, you could. If you wanted to just put a little bit of, just stamp a little bit of each of these images. The images that are on this paper, I will tell you, are larger. Let's just do this really quickly. We've got 5 minutes before this hour is up. So let's see if we want to stick with the pebbled path inside or if we want to do pecan pie. Do we want it to be consistent or do we want to change it up a little bit? Let's see what we think. My thought was that on each one of these, I think we're going to do it right down here. Can you see? No. Okay, we're going to turn it this way. This is for the inside of the card, and I'm going to do it right down here. And now I'm going to line it up. Nope, that doesn't look the same. So I'm going to stick to pebble path. There we have it. Okay, so we're going to make it the same as it is on the front, but you could tell how much smaller that image is than the one on the paper. The designer series paper. That's the Nature's Sweetness. All of this is called Nature's Sweetness. Sweet. And it's the Nature's Sweetness DSP. Okay. Now, whenever you do this on the inside, you'll want to line up the words. This is kind of like a field notebook where you would have this kind of a, you know, Audubon or what not Audubon, that's birds. What is the one for plants and all? So that's probably what I would do on the inside. And then maybe do a little bit of splatter or something in the pecan. Or if you wanted to do a little bit of color, you could. Let's see here. Copper clay. Obviously, I did not plan ahead enough on this. I don't see the blend in pecan. Let's see if we have it over here. In our, let's see what this does. What if we put a little pecan pie, just to show you, it's going to be dark. Of course, if you use the Stampin' blends, you could blend that a little. Or we're going to use watercolor pencils on some of these. On some later cards. We're going to do a lot with this suite. So if y'all are wondering what are Kelly's cards going to look like for the next little bit and what kind of class are we going to have, this, we're going to do a lot with this because how fun is this to play with? So I would probably do something simple like that on each of these. And as I said, the images are quite a bit smaller. So here's the comparison with this one, just to show you really quickly. We will stamp this. And you could do it anywhere. You could do it even across here. And still have room to write a little message. You could color that in, not color it in, whatever you want to do. But you can see the difference in the size there. But that would be a fun inside to the card. And then that way they could see, oh, cacao. That's a cacao bean. So there you go. That's how that works. And that, I would probably, on this one, since the flower is so large, I'd probably just use the leaf on the inside of it. And then we will close this video. And I'm just going to go right there. Unless you wanted the whole big flower, you could just do that leaf. So there are those 3 cards completed. You could go ahead and wink of Stella these. You could do a little wink on these. Whatever makes you happy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please share with your crafty friends. And I will be posting information about my classes, upcoming classes, very soon. In January, I'm done for December with classes because it takes a lot of prep to get all these ready. I may do a stamp camp if y'all are interested in that, where you do a bunch of these. Let me know. But I think this would be so pretty to do as a note card set, as a gift for somebody. And there's just lots of potential. So thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate you coming by. And please share with your friends. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye. Have a great day.